Hey guys, today I wanted to talk about why I believe the 2007 and newer Honda CBR600rrs are the best super sport bikes for the street. As some of you guys may know, in 2007 they completely redesigned the CBR600rr from top to bottom. It's got a new engine, and they actually tailored this bike really more for the street than they did for the track, at least in my opinion. The key difference that you will see on this bike compared to all the other super sport bikes is they raised the bar height 10 millimeters on this bike. The handlebars on this bike are actually above the triple tree. You will not see that on any other super sport bike. I'll even show in this video. As you can see, there's a picture of the Gixxer bar height. There's a picture of the Yamaha R6 bar height. There's a picture of the Kawasaki ZX6R 636, the brand new 2013. Check the bar height on that. The Daytona 675R bar height. As you can see, all the other bikes, the bars are sitting below the triple tree. And what this does is it places your hands lower and more of your body weight on your hands and wrists. So it's going to cause more wrist and hand fatigue when you ride this bike, you know, on the long haul. And that's why a lot of people tell you that super sport bikes are not good for long range riding, because it stresses your wrists and your hands. And I don't get that on this bike at all. But this is very important for you guys to know, because this is what makes this bike the most comfortable super sport bike, is because they raised the bar height 10 millimeters. And believe me, you'll appreciate it. And you know, Honda is smart, because 90% of sport bike riders do not even go to the track. And if they do, it's probably just a few times a year. Because I don't know if you guys know this or not, but you know, track riding is a very expensive hobby. You know, at the cheapest group rate on off-peak hours, it's like anywhere from $150 to $200 for 2 hours of riding. So you go once a week, that's freaking what, $800 a month, you know, 4 weeks out of the month. And that doesn't even include the extra maintenance you have to do on your bike because of that track riding. You're going to have to buy, you know, rear tires more often, and do more maintenance on your bike more often. So, you know, those costs add up. You know, shit, that's about $1,000 a month. I don't know, most people I know don't have an extra $1,000 a month to spend on a hobby. It's a lot of money. So you're most likely you're going to be riding this bike on the streets. And this is the bike you want for the streets because of the bar height. That's really the biggest difference of all the other super sport bikes. Not only that, on the 2007 and newer CBR600rrs, they reduced the weight on this bike. This bike is the lightest 600cc bike that is available of all the jet bikes. This bike weighs in, the 2007 and 2008 CBR600rr weighs 412 pounds wet, and that's stock. And then in 2009 they reduced it actually a couple pounds less, so it's 410 pounds wet stock for 2009 through 2013. I don't know the specs on the 2013 yet, but I'm sure it's not far off. So this bike feels really light, and if you add a Two Brothers slip-on exhaust like I did, it's going to reduce the weight even about 12 to 13 pounds. So this bike, this 2008 CBR600rr that I'm riding, only weighs about 399 pounds. And it's probably, it's only, what, 19 pounds more than the 2011 CBR250R that I had. And I'll tell you, when I first got on this bike, to me, it felt like a 250. It did, as far as sitting on it. And the comfortability of the bike, and the only key difference between the 250 and this bike to me was the power. Obviously the power is like night and day. I mean, this bike feels like a rocket compared to the 250. But the ergonomics, now that the seating position is on the 250R, obviously is a little bit more upright position, but you want to be in a more aggressive riding position on a sport bike because it allows you to have more fun on the twisties. And I often found myself that when I was on this CBR 250R, that I would sit all the way back in my seat and bend my elbows and create a more aggressive riding position on that bike. That was the only way I can have fun on the twisties. I mean, you're not going to have fun on the twisties in a completely upright position. It's just not as fun. And like I said, on this bike, you can ride all day long. You'll have no wrist problems at all. So that is something, in my opinion, it's very important to consider is, you know, do you want to ride this bike, you know, all day long? Do you want to take this bike on long rides? If you do, this is the bike for you, not the other super sports. Because if you get on the other super sports, especially the Yamaha R6 that has a more aggressive riding position, like I said, all the other super sports, the handlebars are below the triple tree. So you're going to have wrist and hand fatigue, you know, if you ride that bike long enough. You're not going to have it on this bike, you know. Not only that, this bike has a gas gauge. And the gas gauge is very important if you like the hyper mile like I do. You can get pretty decent gas mileage on this bike. As you guys saw, I almost got damn near 50 miles per gallon on this bike. And that's not trying to really, because I take this, you know, as you guys see in some of my videos, man, I haul ass on the back roads all the time on this bike, you know. If I didn't do that, I'm sure I could get a lot better gas mileage on this bike, you know. But gas mileage is really not a, you know, the number one concern for me. I just do it, you know, really for more of, for fun, really, just to keep up with my numbers on fueling. But I don't really care that much about, you know, fuel efficiency. But, you know, I'd rather get 40, you know, I'm averaging about, what, like 43, 44 miles per gallon on this bike right now. I'd rather be averaging that than averaging like in the 30s. So, but yeah, you can do that on this bike because of the fuel gauge. And this is the only super sport bike that has a fuel gauge, except for the new 2013 Daytona 675R. I believe they've added a fuel gauge on that bike. So, and also what sets this bike apart from all the super sport bikes now is that it has an undertail exhaust. Now I know on the previous bikes, the 2006 and older bikes, they had some heat issues at the seat, I believe, but they corrected that with the 2007 and newer CBR600rrs. I don't have any heating issues at the seat at all on this bike. Now, the only drawback to the super sport bike for the streets as far as commuting is that the engine on all of them produce more heat than most other bikes. And that's, like I said, that's all super sport bikes, but to me it's really not that big of an issue. Just on a hot day when you're in stop and go traffic, you can, you know, feel the heat down towards your legs. But if you wear a good pair of boots and you're wearing your motorcycle pants, you really can't feel it anyhow, so it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, this bike is it's very comfortable, at least for me. I've ridden this bike all day long, man, I'll tell you, and it's very enjoyable. I feel like I can ride across the country on this bike. It's that comfortable. And like I said, none of the other super sport bikes have their handlebars above the triple tree like you'll see on this bike. And that's what sets this bike apart from all the other super sport bikes. And this is what you'll love, believe me. And I'll tell you, I actually, on the CBR, I feel this bike is even more comfortable than the CBR 250R that I had, because for some reason on that bike, I used to get hand fatigue on that bike. I don't know why, but I don't know, my left hand would feel like it'd go to sleep on that bike for some reason. But I don't get that on this bike. And like I said, if you, you know, when you're on those long straightaways, if you want a completely upright position, all you got to do is here, take your left hand off, put it on your knee, man. You're in a completely upright position. And I can ride all day long on this bike. And also, you don't have to worry about pinching the tank on this bike and keeping your weight up, you know, with your torso, because of the bar height's been raised 10 millimeters. So these are things to think about, you know, because like I said, most of you guys will not see the track. So you want a bike that's comfortable for the streets. So if you like the look of the Super Sport and you like the quickness of the Super Sport, but you want comfort on your Super Sport bike, this is it, baby. The CBR600rr, the 2007 and newer. You're not going to get that comfort on the previous year model bikes, 2006 and older. And also you're going to get the reliability that Honda has to offer. This bike will run 100,000 miles easy, no problem. As long as you maintain it well. And as a lot of you guys know, on YouTube, there's a guy that has a CBR600 F4i that has over 200,000 miles on it, and it's still running beautiful. So, and the build quality is so much better on the Hondas than a lot of the other bikes too. You can get an excellent build quality, excellent reliability. You're getting comfort on this bike, and you don't have all that electronic gadgetry bullshit that you have on the other bikes. You know, you don't need traction control on a 600. You know, maybe on the leader bikes, but you're not going to want to. You know, you're going to want to be able to ride this bike the way you want to ride it and bust a wheelie here and there. You know, you're not going to really want the traction control. And to me, when you add all that electronic gadgetry on the bike, it reduces the reliability anytime you're dealing with electronic shit. Also, now some of those other bikes have the power modes on there, and really that's more of marketing hype. You know, you don't need that. That's more geared towards new riders, really, because you're not going to want to reduce the power on your bike. So yeah, so you know, to me, in my opinion, this is the most perfect bike, super sport bike for the streets. It doesn't get any better than this. And I did a ton of research before I bought this bike, and just also to let you guys know that in 2009 they actually reduced the top end on the CBR600rr due to emissions. So the fastest CBR600rr model year of all the CBRs is 2007 and 2008. So I just want to let you guys know that. I don't know about the 2013. Like I said, it's not out yet. There hasn't been really any in-depth reviews on the bike, but I'm sure they're probably going to stay in line with keeping up with the emissions and keeping the top end down a little bit on the bike. So if you guys can find a clean 2007 or 2008 CBR600rr out there, snap it up, baby, because it's an excellent bike. Now, I know some of you guys mentioned that some of you guys will say the 600cc bike doesn't have that much power down low, meaning lower in the RPMs. And I haven't ridden any other of the 600 bikes, but I can say on this bike pulls hard from the line. And I mostly ride this bike below 5,000 RPM, and I love it. So I don't know where they're getting that bullshit that the power is low down on the RPMs on this bike. At least I've heard it's pretty bad on maybe the Yamaha R6 and maybe some of the other super sport bikes. But this bike, this 2008 CBR600rr, feels fast off the line. It pulls hard, at least for me. See here, right now it's idling at what, about $1.5 grand. Watch this. You want to see it pull, baby? Look at that. Pulls hard. It's a quick bike, man. To me, it's all the power you need for the streets, baby. I don't desire any more power at all. And a lot of you guys that have ridden this bike have even commented that it feels like a 750. because it feels like one of the quickest 600s out there on the street. So yeah, guys, that's all I really want to talk about today. If you want to add to this conversation, go ahead and drop a comment. I'd appreciate it. You have any questions, hit me up, you know. So hey, that's all I really want to talk about. Hey guys, thought I'd give you some bonus coverage here. Let you hear the awesome sound of the CBR600rr. The Two Brothers Black Series slip-on. CBR600rr, baby. Sadly, I gotta take my bike in, man. Ah, what a fun ride. Until next time.
Catch you guys later.